happening, everybody? I'm back. It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington. I'm here with the Season 1, Episode 13 season finale review of Stargirl on both the DC Universe and on the CW. And if you have not seen this episode yet, if you don't know the drill by now, you should know what it is. Come on back, there will be spoilers. Yes, that's a vacuum cleaner you might hear in the background. It is what it is. We've come to the conclusion of this first season, knowing automatically we have a second season. We know that the second season will more than likely look different because it's going to go from its main home on the DC Universe to the CW. I wanted to know, how would they wrap this story up? Would it be wrapped up with a bow? Would it be things closed off and open up doors to start the next season? Would the start of the next season make sense? And things like that. And I will say, after rewatching this a couple of times and talking with one of my homies about it, I'm not as impressed as I thought as I would be when it comes to the season finale. The reason being is a lot of the story was great, okay? The things that were leading up to it in the penultimate episode, the brainwave using the machine and taking control of the adults, the controlling Pat Dugan and having him attack Stargirl, all these different things that you had, I was like, okay, this will be the best part of this. Now, where I had issues with were certain things that happened. I'm not going to go bit by bit, but I had an issue with the whole return of Henry Jr. seeing Yolanda and Yolanda realizing it's brainwave and then murdering him after she said she didn't want to kill anybody after watching Henry be killed, but she easily sliced the throat of brainwave. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, Jay, she was upset and he killed the man she loved, even though he did these heinous things to her, and so that was her retribution. But at the same time, we're talking about somebody who brags and boasts himself to be one of the most powerful telepaths in the world at the time. You know, him saying already he's powerful beyond measure, but then his powers have increased after killing his son. So you're telling me that when he disguised himself as a vision of Henry Jr., he couldn't read Yolanda's thoughts to A, find out what a team was, and B, see she's planning on murdering him? Like, even right before the swipe and then stopping her? That kind of didn't add up to me. I mean, granted, I like to see the murder better than anybody, and I wanted to see Wildcat do some slashing, and I mean, a throat kind of justifies it, but it just didn't add up. I kind of knew Cindy was going to kill her father, you know, even though it takes the battle away, it takes the victory away from the Shining Knight. I knew that she would be the one to kill her father somehow, some way. But for her to kill her father and then turn around and want to go attack Courtney and all them, it had a catch-22 feel to me. It's like, okay, Cindy is pure evil, right? We've seen this, we know this, we've developed that throughout the season. But she was told she'll never be a part of the ISA. She was told they don't want her. You know, she's a failed experiment. She's thought of less than by her father. By her father as a failed experiment. And then, not only after you kill your dad, you go back to attacking Stargirl. Stargirl's like, bitch, I ain't got nothing to do with you no more. You was in a cage. You was locked up. I mean, I get how you need to have an evil presence that no matter what, they will stay evil above the rest. And this was something I was talking about going back, I think, a couple episodes when I talked about there might have been a battle between Icicle and Brainwave over who's the alpha, who's the most dominant member of the Justice League. So you had that. Can somebody explain to me why all of a sudden at the season finale, we finally see the cosmic staff be as powerful as it's ever been? Like, if you know the comic book history and the lore, and if you've done some research, you know the cosmic staff is extremely powerful. Yes, that's a thing. But we've just seen it do blast somebody out. Not like, you know, take them out. This thing destroyed a whole entire satellite array, which means it could have done way more damage to Tigress, everybody it's blasted with, everybody, instead of just a get off me blast. I mean, I understand that would kill off characters and kill off bad guys early, but you have to tease that level of power. You have to do something to show that this staff can destroy something as massive as that machine. You know what I'm saying? You have to show that. Jordan having to fight with them was cool. him kidnapping Barbara, and telling him how he wanted to fix the town and fix the country, and he basically confessing his love, and then Pat coming to her defense and was like, I didn't come along, I came with our daughter, and it was that was a nice little moment. And to have Mike have his moment. Now in the comic books, Mike Dugan is just basic. There is no superpowers, there are no secret abilities. Mike Dugan is Mike Dugan. And so Mike hitting Icicle with the truck and cracking the shit out of him was like, okay, kind of graphic. I get it. Graphic on a bright sunny day on the outside. But that wasn't some of my biggest issues. My issues were how they were wrapping this entire episode up. We go, what was it, 6 weeks later, we go to Christmas, and Courtney gives Pat the mug she'd saved for her dad, the world's greatest dad mug. And then they take the pictures. That could have been it with one post-credit scene. But then you got Cindy digging around in files, and all of a sudden pulls out the gem and goes, there you are, Eclipso. There's been no hinting of Eclipso of other members like that of the ISA at all. It just, there you go, Eclipso. Huh? The shade has been around this entire time, but we don't see him until the very end where he wants to take his place in the photo. Solomon Grundy, I have an issue with that too. I've waited the entire season to see Solomon Grundy, and I was hoping it was going to be a big payoff. And yeah, they had Grundy look, rather massive. But you want to know who Grundy looked like exactly to me? Like the Hulk in the Ed Norton version of the Incredible Hulk. The faces he had, if you look at that fight, if you remember the Incredible Hulk and look at the fight that he had with Abomination, even moments like when he's on the gurney and he's getting his amygdala shocked and he's transforming for the first time and back and forth before they inject the serum, the suppression serum, when Abomination stabs him with one of the bone spurs in his elbow, with things like that. No, it wasn't a bone spur. I think it was something else. Yeah, it was probably a bone spur. But you have all these different looks, and these looks are exactly the same. And that was a hope of mine. I was hoping they wouldn't do. You've shown with this HBO Max budget, you have the budget for your visual effects. You have the budget to make things look better than what they normally would. And I feel like you cheated it. I might be the only one. I feel like you cheated it when it came to Grundy. Then I know Grundy's basic thing is a voodoo thing. Grundy's basic thing is a curse. And yeah, but he's been made bad. But for him to get whooped like he did by our man, by Rick, for the last 5 minutes, to get whooped like that and to have Grundy just all of a sudden back down, it rubbed me the wrong way. Like the way he backed down, I guess it was more so to show Rick is a hero and he can actually control himself from killing, more so than saying that Grundy is weak, if I'm reading that right. What was something else? Oh, yeah, there are a couple other things. We teased the pen and never used the pen. We talked about the lantern once or twice. Actually talked about it once, and that was the end of the Green Lantern. I understand. I said this before. I did say this before, and I've said this in previous episodes. Like, yeah, this could be setting up for the second season. But I think you should have brought it back up. You can't just introduce something major like both of those and then just leave them to the wayside. Like, you just completely had them there, let them go. That was it. That was literally it. And I wonder what the thought process was behind it. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm wondering, like, what was the way to say, hey, let's tease this for the people, and then we can turn around and give them the full story going on down the line, because we want to build up the JSA, which you did. Well, let me rephrase that. You did not. Here's why. Icicle destroys the goggles, the Dr. Mid-Nite goggles, and basically gets rid of Chuck, which leaves Beth pointless. And which I hate to have to say this, they've had her quite pointless the entire season. I don't know if I know some people I think may have brought it up in the comments, but I know I've been thinking about this. According to Dr. Mid-Nite, he made a suit that allowed him to walk and do all these other things. Correct? Correct. Him just having on the goggles wasn't just the main thing. You just had Beth, instead of being an actual member of the JSA, you made her the guy in the chair. You made her this show's Felicity. This show's Cisco. Wynn, Brainiac, Gamby. You notice what I'm saying? Luke Fox. Every Arrowverse show, every CW show has a guy in a chair. And some contribute more than others. And now, in many cases, what I've named, everybody I've named has contributed more than others. The goggles contributed more than Beth did. And I know you're probably like, well, if she doesn't wear the goggles, then it doesn't happen. Is that true, though? Could anybody else have put the goggles on that Chuck had already trusted? Yes, he considered Beth a friend. Beth considered him a best friend. But Dr. Mid-Nite did nothing. And I don't think I'm not going to go. I got a couple thoughts on that. I can go in a whole different direction. Like, it really is weird. You took the only black character, one of the main black characters on the show, and did not do anything really useful for her. You didn't. The goggles could have been on anybody. You could have put them fucking goggles on Mike Dugan. I hate to say it. I want to see Angelica Washington involved more, so I'm hoping season 2 gets her more in this. You know what I'm saying? Yolanda had a story arc. Courtney has a story arc. Pat has a story arc. Rick has a story arc. But what we did with Beth was, okay, she has friends now. That's it. And when I say story arcs, you gave them abilities. All the ones I mentioned, you gave them abilities somehow, some way. Yolanda gets a suit that enhances her fighting abilities and makes her do crazy shit. Rick gets an hourglass from his father in a suit that makes him strong for an hour. Pat has a robot he built that he controls with a flip phone, which is dope. Courtney is a great gymnast, but gets a cosmic staff that allows her to do some other things. But Beth gets goggles. You could have just put her in front of a computer. You put her in the field, it's like, it's weird. You notice that's why they had to, I think that's why they had the whole, when they go battle the JSA, Beth's job is to go to America First with Barbara and just hack the computers. Yeah, that's an important thing that you have to have happen with every superhero team, like I said earlier. But I wanted to see more. I wanted to see more out of that. And I think one of the other things that I had an issue with was on Christmas, the staff comes, tells Courtney, let's fly. They fly around. It's snowy as shit. It's cold as hell. Courtney got on the short shorts. And Pat comes along and they sit up at the tower, on top of the water tower for Blue Valley to get that shot. That's all. To get the shot of Stargirl and S.T.R.I.P.E sitting on the water tower with the American flag in the back. Wasn't needed. That shot's not needed. In theory, it's like, yeah, what if we have this closing shot with them like this? And it's like, I don't think that shot's needed after you give Pat the world's greatest dad mug, because that's what it means. And I guess if you're trying to show the analogy of, here's Pat Dugan and Courtney Whitmore, Mike calls them the Whitmore Dugans, and then you have Stargirl and S.T.R.I.P.E. But I personally don't think you needed it. So then we got to talk about Sylvester Pemberton, Starman, returning, because, like, he was dead. Hella dead. And then he shows back up. Now, I was talking to a buddy of mine about this, and I think the only thing that makes this work, if you use this, even though it might get a little confusing and open a few more doors, is if you use the crisis angle. You have to use crisis. Whereas he's the Sylvester Pemberton from another Earth who knows the same Pat Dugan, and he merged into one as with all the merging of the universes. I think that's the only way you played it out. But it was, again, it's one of those weird endings, like, how do you explain this? Because now you go into season 2 also with this, where the staff has to choose. It has to choose between Stargirl or Starman, and then more than likely it'll go back to Starman, and then Stargirl is hurt, and we deal with that, or we find out that Starman is not really Starman, because now we know that Well, the ISA knows where the JSA resides. They know everything about them. That's going to be a very confusing thing within itself. All in all, I've been real high on this show, and I was hoping they'd seal it off with a perfect kiss. If I had to give it a rating, I'm scaling 1 to 5. This gets a 3.5 from me. Gets my lowest rating of any episode I've given on the show. It was done. You could have done this perfect. You had the perfect culmination of the story. But you had so many unopened, it was unopened quotation, they should get why this happened moments, end quote. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that makes sense if they just think about it. Let's not think too much into it. But it's like the way you built the story, we think into a lot of different things. So again, I may be, you know what I'm saying? Again, my opinion is my opinion, others' opinions are others' opinions, and I might be wrong in this. But this story had the way to perfect. Yes, you can have the cosmic staff destroy the towers. That's fine. You can have Yolanda fight Brainwave and do something until an eventual death, but that quick slash boom, those were Henry's friends too, and that's it. You got to have Brainwave show he's just as powerful as he has the town under his freaking control. I don't know, man. I want to know your thoughts, though. Comments below. Y'all already know the drill. Like, subscribe to the channel. Click on the notification bell. Do what you got to do. Y'all already know I'm going to drop some of these when they come back. This is weird because all of the CW shows that I talk about, the DC shows, are done. There are no Marvel TV shows right now. I know. I didn't make it through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm probably, once the season wraps up, I'll probably go over to P-Valley on Starz because I've been watching that, and that shit's amazing. But, yeah, it's been a fun ride with this season. Again, season 2's coming. We all are fearful of what budgetary restrictions they will have going from HBO Max to the CW. I got a lot of love for all my homies that work over there, from working on the writing staffs, those that work in the cast and the crew. So, I mean, they make the best out of things. And again, their budget is not their fault. So I understand that. So when Stargirl has a lesser budget, possibly, not guaranteeing it, but possibly, I know I can't really be upset because I get it. That's the call of Warner Media at the end of the day, Warner Brothers. So I get it. But like I said, do all those things. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Mr. J Washington. Y'all don't know how to spell it. The Supervillain Squad on Patreon, patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. The one-on-one with the Supervillain Tears, I got to schedule all this months so we can go ahead and knock out this month's one-on-ones. So let's do all of that. And Matt Titan Podcast, everywhere you get the podcast from. Blurs in the Hood every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, Blurs in the Hood YouTube channel. Holla at y'all later. I would say next week, but there's no next week to this. So y'all just stay tuned to the channel. There's a bunch of stuff coming up. Talk to y'all then. I'm out. Bye.